does seem like this weekend will be incredibly key as to whether the Winnipeg Jets will be able to convince Barry Trotz to take their head coaching job. And from all the reports we're hearing, the meetings will continue to take place. They've circled back. Most of the other jobs have sort of been taken or accounted for. And it's down to see whether the Winnipeg Jets can get Barry Trotz and whether Barry Trotz wants to return to coaching. But certainly from a Jets fan and someone that has from the start been somewhat invested in hopefully getting the number one choice on the coaching vacancy list for Winnipeg. Some pretty exciting news right now that certainly got a lot of people buzzing last night.
Yeah, at first, he got fired, and then a week later we heard there was a meeting, and then it got kind of quiet. And then we had started to hear reports that they were looking at other candidates, Scott Arniel, Jim Montgomery, Pascal Vincent. And then, some of the jobs dried up. John Tortorella hired in Philadelphia. That just got announced. The other one was Bruce Cassidy hired in Vegas. So, two potential destinations, checked off, including a reporting that, who is that? Anthony Sanfilippo saying that Trotz turned down $7 million to coach the Flyers, which, as you just showed, it makes your eyes want to pop out your head. But we did have a bit of a bomb last night or yesterday afternoon from Mike McIntyre writing, the Jets and Barry Trotz are inching closer to a union that would appear to be a match made in hockey heaven. Additional talks ongoing. The next few days could be critical. The Jets have made, this is just Mike's reporting, me paraphrasing, the Jets have made Trotz priority number one. They did interview him May 17. Trotz did speak with Vegas and Philadelphia, who have moved on. Down the road, we all know Trotz wants to get into management out of coaching. I thought this was interesting from Mike. Money will not be a sticking point. And they're slated to meet over the weekend. And we see everyone coming in here, everyone in the chat saying, hey, he just bought a house in Nashville, right? And Elliotte said that, I think. That's my YouTube commenter.
Didn't we do our Nashville real estate update yesterday on the program?
Yeah, we did the Nashville real estate update, and apparently there's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. That's what we're saying. And what else do we have? We have Paul Friesen is getting in on the reporting too. He says Barry Trotz impressed with Jets management and ownership. Murat reporting. There are reasons for the Jets to be optimistic, basically confirming Mike's report. And then also saying, hey, if it doesn't work out, Jim Montgomery would be a contender. And then we did have another thing today, just wrapping this all up into a nice little bow. Elliotte Friedman was on the Jeff Merrick show for his daily appearance, which has become must listen for me. I tuned in live. I got to get my Trotz fix there.
Well, hey, you know what? Hey, Elliotte he's the best in the biz right now, has been all over this, but and I know we're going to get to this Florida clip. I mean, there was concern, and I think a lot of people justifiably, when you have a team that was so good this season that fell just short with an interim head coach after what happened with Quenneville at the beginning of the season due to the blowback of, the Chicago Blackhawks scandal, that maybe the Florida Panthers would be knocking on the door of Barry Trotz. And as Elliotte had said, there had been informal phone conversations with some coaches around the league, and you would certainly think that Barry Trotz might be on that list. But apparently, Reem, according to Elliotte this morning, it doesn't sound like that's the case.
Yeah, here's the clip. If anyone was concerned about Florida hopping in here, this is what Elliotte had to say this, I guess, noon Eastern.
Before we wrap up, there was some people told me they were hearing some rumblings this morning about Trotz to Florida. I don't believe that's true.
No Barry Trotz to Florida, so that one still the Florida ticket still remains open, and we still have more questions and answers about that.
I'm not exactly sure what they're going to end up doing there. But I do think, like I said, I do think they're talking to coaching candidates. I do. But I don't. It's like someone said this morning. Did you hear a rumor about Trotz in Florida? I don't think that's the case.
All right. Well, you can all sleep easier knowing that the Florida Panthers won't be snagging Barry Trotz, according to Elliotte Friedman. And at this point, Remo, I think it's pretty clear. Certainly from people that I'm talking to right now, that it sort of does seem like it's Jets are bust for Barry Trotz. I mean, I think that, if he's coaching this season behind a bench of a National Hockey League team, barring any strange last-minute changes or developments, I think it's Winnipeg. And listen, Barry Trotz has obviously already had plenty of opportunities, and we mentioned the offer that he turned down with the Philadelphia Flyers, which, if I'm not mistaken, would have made him the highest paid coach in the National Hockey League. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if anyone's making more than $7 million right now on the bench of an NHL team. And the fact that the Jets are still in it, and this is still, I mean, like there hasn't been a no yet. Now, what else needs to happen, or what else needs to, to be done on the Winnipeg side of things? I'm really not sure. And to be honest, I'm sure they would have done everything they can to put their best foot forward early and stay in the mix, which they obviously have. Vegas has a coach now. We think that Peter Dubois is going to Dallas. Trotz is in Philly. I haven't heard much on Detroit, but it doesn't seem like that's a situation that Barry Trotz would probably want to be going into for what we expect to be his final head coaching gig in the National Hockey League. So that leaves the Winnipeg Jets, and it leaves a weekend where people are going to be kicking it outside, enjoying the sun, but probably paying very close attention to their feeds to see alerts on from all the insiders. I really do hope whatever happens, well, obviously I hope Trotz gets hired, that we get the Weeks bomb. It needs to be broken by the People's Insider, Kevin Weeks, and that will go down potentially as one of the great Twitter moments of Jets history, if in fact it does.
Oh, who do I want to break a potential hiring? Do I want to see well, he did do a video yesterday about the Tortorella contract, and he didn't say what's going on, you NHL fans. So
I was heartbroken. But the thing is that he was on TV. Someone was recording his report, and then he put it out. But I tweeted him back. I said, hey, it just hits different when we don't get the what's going on, you NHL fans. So it would be great. What's going on, you Winnipeg Jets fans? People would completely lose it.
If Weeks said that, yeah, I'm here for, I want to keep it local. We're a local show. I mean, if I think someone said to me that, this is how I want it to be broken. I want Ken to write a column about the Stanley Cup final, Game 2, and then have him hide it in a paragraph in the middle. Oh, by the way,
like the
Jets
Chevy
are gonna
extension.
hire. Yeah, exactly. If anyone doesn't remember,
incidentally, the general manager just signed a three-year extension.
Someone wrote in our YouTube comments, "Why do all these stories be broken by Toronto?" And I'm like, that's not true. Jason Bell broke one, and Ken broke the Cheveldayoff 3-year extension. He just hit it in a column on Sportsnet.ca instead of doing a video like Kevin Weeks does.
We're working on Ken. To get a little bit more internet savvy, because I would love it. He could just sit there. He could take a big swig of water and then say, what's going on, Jets fans? Ken Wiebe here. I've got some breaking news. Hey, I'll take it from anyone right now. The bottom line is, and listen, the insider game is a weird one. It's not really, and we certainly found this out, and we heard it as much from the guys that are involved in that line of work in and around the Blackhawks situation, that they're not necessarily, I don't know if you want to call it Big J. I mean, they're almost information traders, if that makes any sense. And favors are done on one side to the other, information going back and forth. And then when things are getting ready to go, where the relationships are, because usually there's one particular guy that has a better line into a particular team. Certainly it seems like it's been Darren Dreger in the past with the Winnipeg Jets. So I don't know. We'll have some fun. Whatever the news is, and if it ends up being positive, that report will be remembered for a long, long time in Winnipeg. But overall, it's just the beginning of what is going to be a fascinating next few weeks and months for Jets fans, and certainly for us here on Winnipeg Sports Talk, Remo, because of everything that happens after that coach is hired. All I can say is this: if this does drag on another week, I mean, hey, we're here for it. We've got a lot of extra people coming in to see what's going on with our show and Trotz Watch, as we've called it. So we'll keep doing it. But I know from the business aspect and the hockey side of things, you definitely want to get that done and have that individual on board going into the draft, because I mean, one thing that we do know, I asked the guys about this the last couple days, and I really do think there's going to be some very significant changes to this roster. I'm not entirely sure what that means, whether it is Mark Scheifele, whether it's some players that we haven't really talked about before. in that, you walk down the aisle with a new guy with a plan, not just for this year, but going into the next few years. You realize the guys that fit, the guys that maybe don't. And it might surprise some of us, depending on, the angle that, Barry or the new head coach feels about the club. And certainly this has been something that Cheveldayoff and Chipman, and I think everyone within the organization has been going over and probably agonizing over, to be honest, including at parts of last season. That being said, none of it's happening probably until we get some clarity, in particular as to whether Barry Trotz is coming home. We got to back a crate of beers up to wherever he's staying in the city.
Yeah, I was starting to get working on a mock-up can design this weekend. Maybe once I saw Mike's report, I was like, man, we got to start coming up with some prototypes here. Because you just tweeted out, it's funny, Mike put out that tweet yesterday, and you just tweeted out like 50 beer emojis in there, and I thought that was great. I think people love that. I played hockey last night, like people were applauding me on our hockey team. It's like, how did you guys do that? Going back to the I think maybe that was what put it over the line here. We weren't really hearing about any conversations taking place. You put in the last ditch effort, a wrestling promo saying we're going to give you beer for life plus beer named after you. And then all of a sudden they're meeting again. So I do think you had some impact on that for sure.
The one thing I'll say is, since that was dropped on Monday and got picked up, Stephen Wino, of course, doing the article on it that got picked up everywhere. Barry Trotz, I have not clicked on Twitter in the last 4 days where Barry Trotz hasn't been the trending topic on my timeline in Winnipeg. So he certainly did add some gas on the fire a bit. I think it was smoldering. And then the minute we started having fun with the beer offer, I think a lot more people started paying attention, and it went on a little bit of wildfire. And we can only hope that maybe it helps a little bit. But one thing I'll say, if I'm Barry Trotz and I'm sitting back and I see that, and I see the reaction from Winnipeg Jet fans in this community, I don't know. I mean, some people might say, oh, geez, it's a little much, but he's from here. I think he knows how important this team is to this community and to the fan base. And hopefully it's something that, maybe makes him even more excited to be a part of what would be a turnaround that would mean so much in and around here. Lots of work to be done for sure. But first things first, the work that's got to be done is figuring out a deal and getting his name on a contract. And, I don't want this to sound like it is imminent, because I think if you read Mike's reporting as well as Murat and Paul Friesen, none of them are saying that this is a done deal, but it could be. And it does sound like in the very near future, potentially over the course of this weekend, they'll be breaking it down. And maybe we will have some good news. And the end of Trotz Watch, which I'll be sad about at some point, Remo, because as we mentioned, it's been good for business, as they say. And welcome to everyone that maybe found us over the course of the last little while. Hopefully you're joining us on a daily basis. And while you're here, welcome everyone. Hit that red subscribe button. We're here every Monday to Friday, 1:00 p.m. live on YouTube, and then we'll crank it out your podcast feed in time for your drive home if you're unable to join us live. It will be a sad day when Trotz Watch is over, but if it ends the right way, as I said, it'll just be on to even more exciting things over the course of these next few weeks, especially with draft dream. And we are not that far away.
Yeah, and I know Trotz Watch is going to come to an ending as soon as that's what we're being told, that a decision could be made next week. However, after that, Trotz Watch over, just change the sign. We're going to be on Dubois Watch as he's an RFA and that contract negotiations. We're going to be getting so many updates on that, as well the NHL draft, a lot of stuff. Actually, I did tweet out. So I was listening to the Friedman appearance on the Merrick Show, and I tweeted it out. Where is it? I tweeted out the quote that we played earlier, and some guy responds, Colin says, "It's about television ratings, drama, draws, and viewing." I will say this. The day he got fired, we did a show and had like double the number of people. We didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah, no,
and
it wasn't
people
like,
were interested.
Barry Trotz is fired. We just started, and you just knew that people would give. I mean, you're especially Jet fans. I would have done the same thing if I was on the other side.